Well, it's good to have this opportunity to begin this class, this webinar this morning. And there's several things that we will be looking at to allow additional people to join our class. And then we're going to go into the class altogether, this webinar. And as many of you know, this is a introduction to this class that I will be teaching. The name of the class is The Art of Connection, and it is a 22 session class. Today is an introduction to that class so that each of you get some experience of what we'll be going through in the class, and you can see based on what we do today if you want to be part of this class or not. And the class will have three classrooms. One will be a midweek morning, one will be a midweek evening, and the other one will be held on a Saturday morning. All of that will begin in about 2 weeks, and by your interest, I will put together the time frame so that it works as best I can for everyone. I like to teach out of small group dynamics, and each classroom will have between 6 and 10 people in it, and each class will have 2 segments. One segment of the class will be a one-on-one segment with me, and those segments will be 15 to 20 minutes. And then the other segment of the class will be a group, it's a focused support group for people that are involved in the class. And the format of that will be much like what we have today. So let me just make sure that everyone is able to participate. And one of the things that I will be doing is to make sure that I read the questions that you've asked and like that. So let's see here. I'm glad that you can hear me. That's important. And I'm glad that I'm able to read what what your comments are. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start the class. There may be some additional people that join us as we go. It's about 9:02 by my clock. And what I will do is turn off my telephone so that we don't get interrupted. And I suggest that you do that as well. Partly because some of what we're going to be doing in this webinar is some meditation. And I always like to turn off my phones when I'm doing meditation so that I can focus my attention where I would like it to go. Let me just go over some of the tools that I will be presenting to each of you today so that you can have an experience, an idea of where we're going. The tools that I will give you today are tools for releasing tension and stress, as well as identifying where in your body you store that. Additionally, we will be doing a meditation shortly that actually is going to encompass a lot of these tools, and we'll talk a little bit about them afterward. Then another part that we'll do in the meditation is a practice of opening your heart. So many times during our life experience, events happen and we harden against those experiences. And this is a way to come back to your heart no matter what happened in the events, because the most important thing I believe in our life is to open our heart, especially to ourselves. And when we shut down our heart, the person that punishes the most is yourself. And I'm sure you know that. But this will give you some tools so that you know how to reopen your heart and how to come back center into your most tender places. Additionally, in this class, you will learn about compassion and how compassion can be generated. You'll learn some tools regarding that and how to experience compassion, not just for yourself, but for other people that may be going through circumstances just like you. So in any event, I hope you enjoy this webinar. It will go for about 45 minutes, and we'll finish up a little before 10 o'clock this morning. Does anyone have any questions before we begin all of this? Let's see here. So I believe that the way that I have this so that you can participate without, crosstalk, at least during this webinar, because it's relatively short and we have a little bit of work to do, is that you can text, you can chat, and I will have the opportunity to interact with you. And your sound, at least on my end, is not turned on. And so, however, I am reading your questions regarding sound. And I'm glad you can hear me loud and clear. That's a good thing. Some of you know I have a tendency to be soft-spoken, so I'm glad that you can hear me. And I really appreciate your presence in this webinar. And let's get started. So the first thing that we're going to do now is to do a relatively short meditation. I know some of you have little to no experience with meditation. Some of you may have a lot of experience with meditation. I always like to start at the shallow end of the pool where it comes to meditation and invite someone into the deeper waters one step at a time. I don't know if each of you may know this childhood riddle. It was called the Hokey Pokey. But with meditation, I think of it like you stick your big toe into the pond, the pool of consciousness, and you see how that feels. And you pull your big toe out, and little by little, you get acquainted with turning your attention inward and the serenity, the peace, the calm that you find within. And so part of the theme for today really is finding the calm in the midst of chaos, and especially in today's world where there is so much going on with COVID on the one hand, and all of the shut-in situations that we all have. Let me just see something here real quick. Hold on, please. So with everything going on in the world, and especially here in the United States with our upcoming general election and all the political events that are happening, both with systemic racism and other events that we are all challenged by, and the news media, of course, does their job in sensationalizing the news, which really grabs our attention. In that process of our attention getting grabbed, we aren't necessarily in our place of calm. We feel somewhat disrupted in the negative sense that we feel alarmed by the circumstances that are happening around us. And it may be very difficult to find the calm in the midst of all this chaos. So let's do a very short meditation, and we will, hold on just a second. And we'll experience some meditation. So the thing with meditation that I like to do myself, and I invite you to do, is to stretch a little bit left and right, your back, your arms, your legs, and find a comfortable way of sitting. Very gently allow your eyelids to drift downward until they do close. And take a slow and gentle deep breath in, gently releasing that breath and allowing your breath to find its own natural rhythm, free of control. Gently scanning your body by feeling the inside of your body, scanning for tension, stress, and discomfort of any kind, starting with the tips of your toes, going all the way through your body from the tips of your toes to the top of your head, looking for stress, pain, and discomfort of any kind. Even mental and emotional distress. And gently gripping around those locations in a kind manner, almost like saying, I know you're here. And slowly and gently releasing. Noticing what dissolves and what remains. And a second time, scanning as before from the tips of your toes to the top of your head, looking for tension, stress, pain, and discomfort of any kind, even mental and emotional. This time gripping but less tightly than before, just engaging around these places. And softening and releasing. Noticing what dissolves and what remains. One more time, scanning from the tips of your toes to the top of your head, looking for stress, tension, pain, and discomfort of any kind, even mental and emotional. This time, just barely touching around these places, just the tiniest amount of gripping that is possible for you, just barely touching the edges of these places. And softening and releasing. Noticing what dissolves and what remains. And with whatever has remained, open your mind and your heart and accept that this is just what's here right now. And it's okay that it's here right now. Simply allow it to be what it is. And slowly and gently bringing the very center of the focus of your attention to your heart, to the source and receiver of love, caring, and kindness within you. If it's difficult to identify that place, consider who you love, who you are very fond of. Notice where you feel that in your heart. And bringing all of yourself, thoughts, feelings, every part of you into your own heart, into this pool of love within your heart. All the way in. If thoughts arise, invite them in as well. Notice how it feels to be within your own heart and within your own love. Allow your love to permeate every part of your being. Leaving no part of yourself untouched by your love. Allow your love to saturate your whole sense of self, body, mind, and spirit. And notice how it feels to be within your own heart, your own love, as a whole being. And slowly take a gentle, deep breath in. Slowly releasing that breath and allowing your breath to find its own natural rhythm once again. Very slowly begin to move your fingers and your toes, gently stretching your hands and your feet, slowly shrugging your shoulders and stretching your back and your arms and your legs. And as you're ready, slowly let your eyes come back open to the room and notice if the room seems a little different than it did a while ago. How is that? Good. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed that meditation. And you can see in terms of what we did that I made good on my promise to teach you some tools for tension and stress relief. Some of you are reporting that you feel calm. And so I'm making good on my promise to help you find the calm in the midst of chaos, and that you're experiencing a sense of love and glow in the room. Part of what I'm also asking you to consider is that the calm and glow that you see in the room is you, that it's your light and your love that you bring into your world with you every day, but perhaps you don't always take the time every day to grace yourself with your own beauty and your own love. So this is a way that you can love yourself so that you'll know how to love your neighbor and how important it is that you know your love so that you know what you're giving and you know love when someone gives it to you. So that's the first part of our class. I wanted to mention all of that, of course. And these techniques and meditation will be part of this 22-week class session. With the classes that we'll go into, I just want to let you know that we will be using this book here. This is a workbook called Choosing What's Chosen You. And this is the workbook that we'll be using for the class. And for those of you that sign up for the class, I will, if you don't already have a copy of the book, I will give you a copy of the book, although I will need your mailing address so that I can do that. And also, this is a meditation instruction CD that I created quite a few years ago because people that were involved in my classes wanted to have that so they could meditate with me basically by hearing my voice wherever they were. And there are 4 different types of meditation, a guided meditation on this CD. There's a meditation on the breath. There's a meditation on a mantra. A mantra is a sound like the sound Om. You could also use your own name. I could say Mark. There's a Sufi heart meditation. That's what we did, was the Sufi heart meditation, and it's a heart centering meditation. And there's also the Tonglen meditation, which we're going to do in just a few moments. But I want to give you a chance to ask any questions about the class that you might have so that we can go from there. And so I'm seeing that some of you noticed where you hold stress and tension in your body, some in the belly, some in other places. And it's good to know where you do that, because that way you you know that you are stressed. Your body and your mind give you certain indicators of things that are going on. And I know that a lot of people have difficulty with what's called, let me just interrupt for a second. Yes, Jans, the class will be a weekly class, and there'll be different times, and we'll schedule that. And I'll also record the classes, although wherever you travel in the world, it will be a Zoom class, so they'll be much like this format. So some people talk about the monkey mind. It's something, this mental chatter, and we don't necessarily think that it holds anything valuable to us. The thing that I've learned after many years of training, many of you know that I trained as a Buddhist monk and priest for many years and still practice the practices of Buddhism. And Buddhism in this regard is not a religion. It's a way to open our mind and our heart and how to live our life with less and less needless suffering. So as you know, there are 2 types of suffering. One type of suffering is inevitable. It's inevitable that things happen. And when things happen, whether, let's say, it's a pet, a dog or a cat, or a loved one, a child, a grandparent, whoever it is, that life goes in one direction. And hopefully we take time to express our love to our loved ones, because there will be a point when either we're gone or they're gone, and that's inevitable. Because all compound things, all things that had a beginning also have an end. It's inevitable. What is needless, though, is it's needless if someone says something and I take it the wrong way, and then I react to what they said in a worse, wrong way. And throwing gasoline on the fire, as you all know, does not extinguish the fire. So that's needless. And so in the class, we will work through issues of needless suffering so that you, by the end of the class, will have more skills in knowing how to deal with the monkey mind, how to extend a gentle act of a loving act of inclusion, to include all of these parts of you while you stay seated on the throne of your heart, and you are the master in your own life. And when I say master, it's not assuming any sexuality. It's whoever you are, however you relate with life, no matter how you were born in terms of gender or what your orientations are. It's you that's the master within yourself, that has lovingly included all of your parts and become more beautiful and more intelligent by using all of your intellectual properties that these sub parts of yourself contain. So that being said, let's see if there are any other questions. I don't see any at the moment. So now what we're going to do is another meditation that is part of the class, and it is part of, hold on just a second. Part of the class, and also these practices, this particular one comes out of teachings in Tibetan Buddhism that is called Lojong. And Lojong means training the mind, especially in terms of the cultivation of loving kindness. So, and loving kindness is a profound, they're profound teachings that are throughout all of the great traditions, East and West. And so all of those traditions help us to know how love and kindness helps us to reduce our needless suffering, and also the needless suffering of people that we care for. So this meditation is called Tonglen, and Tonglen means giving and receiving. It's a way of moving energy. And so if you think about a negative event that happens, maybe you watch the news and the news did their job and helped us to feel negative about circumstances in our world. And some of them are very difficult to deal with because of hearing what people in different places in politics say or do, and how we feel threatened on a variety of different levels. So Tonglen helps us to move energy. It also helps us to develop more compassion. And as I promised, I would help you to learn how to expand your ability to be compassionate to yourself first, of course, and to others. And part of compassion is learning how to move these negative emotions and negative thought forms. Because when we get impacted by negativity, of course, we're breathing in the negativity and we're breathing out the negativity. And you probably know that our egos in part are based on the idea of separation. And in terms of spirituality, we come back to a sense of all things being connected. And so in terms of this class and where we're going today with the webinar, as well as in the classes, is how to form more connections and the nurturing, the emotional and spiritual nurturing that we receive through connecting with ourselves, with others, and also a more universal theme. Like your time in nature, you feel connected in the heart of the forest. What a beautiful place. But that beauty also lives within you, and these tools will help you to find that beauty within you wherever you are. So Tonglen, that's different than our ego. It's called the grandmother's approach, which is kind of like homeopathy, a little bit of poison is good medicine because it activates a part of us that helps us to get stronger. Our ego survives on the belief that once we want to get rid of all the bad stuff and we want all the good stuff. Well, we can see the shape of the world with that particular motivation. And so in order to get stronger, and part of our strength is the connections that we have with others, especially others of like mind and heart, is that we learn how to receive the negative and how to give positive. Let's say a child is having a meltdown, and rather than making it worse, we give love. soothing. And so this is a way to help us to learn how to soothe ourselves so that we get stronger and we become more integrated, more well connected with ourselves. And if you have questions about that, please feel free to ask. So we're about to do Tonglen, and with Tonglen, we imagine that we can take in the negativity that we already feel in through every pore as a gift of love for ourselves, because we have this inner alchemist, this way of transforming energies from negative to positive. So in order to help you to realize your power, we're going to do some Tonglen. And I ask you to select one thing that is bothering you, that is a negative thought. Maybe it's something political that happened. Maybe somebody said something harshly or critical to you that you're having some difficulty with. Just pick one. That's all I'm asking of you. Pick one negative and we'll go from there. And so I'm going to assume that you have a negative. And so again, I'm asking you to just very gently allow your eyelids to drift downward until they do close. And on the next in-breath, breathing in the negative emotion into every pore as a gift of love for yourself. And breathing your love out through every pore as a gift of love to yourself. Breathing in the negative energy into every pore as a gift of love for yourself. Breathing out your love through every pore as a gift of love for yourself. One more time, breathing in the negative energy as a gift of love for yourself. Breathing out through every pore your love. Breathing your love out through every pore as a gift of love for yourself. And continuing to breathe, of course. Considering how many people on the planet right now, right in this moment, even though their circumstances may be profoundly different from yours, have a similar type negative feeling. And if we had some magical means of measuring their negative experience and yours, they would be so close as to be indistinguishable. And now for all of them and yourself, breathing in the negative energy into every pore as a gift of love for all of them and yourself. Breathing out your love for all of them and yourself through every pore. Again, breathing in the negative energy as a gift of love for all of them and yourself. Breathing out your love through every pore as a gift of love for all of them and yourself. Continuing to breathe, of course. And now evaluate. Do you feel any closer, any more well connected to the ocean of humanity that has feelings just like you? And when you're ready, slowly let your eyes come back open. Notice how the room feels. Maybe it feels filled with your love and compassion. Okay, if there are any more questions about the classes, my intention is to start the classes in the last week of August. And if you're interested in the classes, please let me know which one you would like, whether it's a mid-morning midweek morning or a midweek evening or a Saturday morning. And as far as the timing, I aspire to coordinate the classes based on whatever's best for each of you. So if you'll please let me know which time as a midweek morning, which time as a midweek evening, and which time on a Saturday morning would be best for you, it will help me, because my intention is to make the class available to all of you. So in terms of how early on Saturday morning, probably the earliest I would be willing to do is 6 o'clock, but it really depends on what other people want. Probably the latest beginning time on a Saturday morning would be about 10 o'clock. So somewhere in that time frame. And the classes, the group class will be about an hour and a half long. And someone said that 9 a.m. on Saturday morning would be good for them. And so there's two parts of the class. One part of the class is the segment that would be scheduled directly with me, and that we would work out. You and I would work that out. And that would be at some point during the week prior to the class. And what we'll work on in that segment is the key question of the week. Each class has a key question. I believe you'll go a little deeper if you do that part with me. And then in the group segment, there'll be meditation, much like we did the heart meditation. There will also be, each person will share their answer to the key question of the week. And then we'll do the Tonglen meditation, and then we will close with a closing prayer. And we're about to do that now, unless there are any other questions that people have or anything else that you all might. It looks like 9 a.m. on Saturday is something that some of you would like. And please remember that I want the classroom sizes to be relatively small. I like small group work because of the intimacy that it provides for everyone, including for me. I feel like we get to know each other a little better. And also in terms of the focused support group, that you'll feel more well supported in a smaller group. So the sizes of the groups will be between 6 and 10 people. And as I said, there'll be that one-on-one segment with me of about 15, 20 minutes. And then the class, the group, the focused spiritual support group will be about an hour and a half. Let me see, there's one more message here. Cool, so I will get back to you all, and please get back to me about your interest in the class and which time works best for you, and we'll go from there. So we're going to close the class much like we're going to close the webinar today, unless there's anything else. One last shot at questions or statements. Although I think that you all have my contact information. If you need my contact information, let me know, and I'll exchange my information with you. So let's see. The way that we'll close the cost. Okay, good question. So it's pretty reasonable, $25 a week. It's a 22-week class, so that's $550 for the 22-week class. And we'll schedule, payments for those of you that would like to have a payment structure of $25 per week. So it's $25 a week and 22 weeks. Any other questions before we close with a non-denominational interfaith prayer? And if there are questions that come to your mind or heart as a result of today, and you would like to ask those questions of me, please get in touch with me and we'll go from there. Okay, so what I'm asking you to do as part of this prayer is to speak out loud the names of your loved ones, including your own. That's how we'll start this. Bronwyn, Lavina, Emily Rose, Elizabeth, Jack, Arthur, Mom, Madeline, Bill, Lamont, Maureen, James, Justin, everyone that participated today, the world, and all the people. Stephanie, Miles, Maya, Mary, Jessica, Yance, Garland, Deborah, April, Mary. I'm just taking another moment to make sure that you're able to say the names of your loved ones. Feel them in your heart, feel them in your mind, feel your love for them and their inclusion in this circle of prayer. And now I'm going to lead us in a prayer that comes from the Native American Church. It's called the Beauty Way Prayer. Beauty behind us, beauty before us, beauty to the left of us, beauty to the right of us, beauty below us, beauty above us, beauty all around us. And it's important to remember the beauty that's inside of us. Walk in beauty. Have a beautiful day. Thank you for being here with me today.